From our vantage point, the expansion is not only all right, it is life. Because without a forward looking, there cannot be new. And if there is not new, there cannot be continuation. If there is not continuation, there cannot be eternal life. And if there is not variety or contrast from which to choose, there cannot be the forward looking. We want to give you a new perspective of what forward looking really is. Because when we ask you if you are appreciating the contrast that surrounds you, do you like the expansion of your desire, and therefore do you appreciate the contrast that makes it possible? We don't really feel genuine enthusiasm from most of you. We feel sometimes an acceptance of inevitability. We feel sometimes a longing for the contrast to be more controllable. But we don't feel from most people a genuine appreciation for the contrast which really provides all forward motion. And most people don't get that, because most people don't realize that they are creators, and they create through focus or thought. And if you're not thinking about creating through focus or thought, then looking forward isn't as important to you as it is when you understand that you are a creator. So, as a natural consequence of life and the way it has all been established even before you came forth into this physical body, you are surrounded by contrast which automatically, just as you knew it would, causes you to know often what you do not prefer. And the thing that we want you to understand right here as we are beginning today is that when anything causes you to know what you do not prefer, there is in that same moment a preference of what you do prefer that shoots out of you like a rocket and looks forward, really looks forward. In other words, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And the reason that we know that that rocket shoots out and looks forward is because it's the new becoming. It was born out of it was born out of the bouncing off place of the time-space reality that you are focused within. But it is a new preference, it is a new idea, and it is the most forward-looking that exists in all of the universe. Now, the source within you, and that's where we come in, the non-physical part of you, when a rocket emanates from you forward, we ride that rocket forward. In other words, we never stop looking in the forward direction of that new thought. And as a result of that, the larger part of you has become forward-looking. In other words, when you know that you don't have enough of something that you want, you ask for more. And that's that forward-looking thought. That's that newly expanded thought. That's the place that the larger part of you then resides from that point forward. And as that larger part of you now holds that newly found vibration that was carved out of the variety of your life, you now have some emotional awareness of how forward-looking you are, how up to speed you have remained. Did you stay up to speed with the new request that you launched? Or are you still beating the drum in justification and rationalization about why you want it? How often do you hear someone speak in terms of desire in very needy tone? I need it and I deserve it and I long for it. I want it, but I don't have 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 it. Someone who wants it, but is aware that they do not have it, is not forward-looking. You're backward-looking. Backward-looking. In other words, you only have the option of moving ahead or moving, well, there is no moving behind, but there is holding yourself in resistance to the moving ahead. So we really want to get your attention as we ask you to acknowledge the wholeness that is you. Because before you can understand what forward-looking means, you have to understand that in your physical form, you've launched the rocket forward, and the non-physical part of you is riding that forward rocket. And when you, in your physical form, cling to the status quo, cling to what is, continue to weigh the pros and the cons, but mostly you continue to express your awareness of life from where you are not forward-looking. Now, we want to take this even to a stronger place where you can really hear it more clearly. You were source energy before you came into this body, and many people have a sense that that must have been true. You just can't look around this extraordinary environment in which you live, especially as you look outward and see your Earth spinning in perfect proximity to other planets. You just have to acknowledge that there is more to this physical life experience than can be explained through physical terms. And so most of you accept that there is something more from which you have come. We want you to understand that not only was there something that you have come forth from, but even while you are here in this physical body, that larger non-physical part of you still exists non-physically focused. Just like the source of your toaster that toasts your bread is the electricity that never becomes the toaster. And there is source, that is the source of that which is you, which remains non-physically focused and continues to flood energy and consciousness and awareness to you. So here you are, an extension of that, not separated from it, not ever, an extension of that source energy, exploring, just as you knew you would, variety for the purpose of the new forward thought. Because you knew from your non-physical wisdom that in the variety out here on the leading edge, that every point of consciousness, even one-celled organisms, would be standing in a place where they would be perceiving their environment, where they would conclude their personal, selfish, interested preference from where they stand. And you knew that as the genius human creator that you are, you knew that you would have great variety from which to conclude new preferences. And you knew that each time a preference or a desire or a wish or a hope or a dream, call it whatever you want, came forth as a result of the environment in which you were living, you knew that you would launch that rocket forward, just as from your non-physical vantage point, you launched the rocket that erupted and became the physical you. In other words, you never stop expanding. We never stop expanding. So, here you stand in your physical format, still the creator that you were before you were born, still launching rockets, only now launching them from this more defined, more refined, more specific, more perfect time-space reality environment. So you know what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want, whether you're good at articulating it or not. So the preference moves forward from you, forward from you, and the source within you, who holds no resistance, immediately becomes resonant with the new expanded idea that you've carved out. Because source knows no one would know better than the consciousness of the one-celled organism of what would be better for the one-celled organism. In other words, when you think about it, if every point of consciousness is selfishly and in a very interested way asking for the best it can find, what could be better than an environment who is being answered to every request of what would be better? In other words, all requests being answered, and non-physical expanding as a result of what physical beingness has carved out of this creative environment. So the question that this gathering wants to help you to identify and answer is, are you, once you've launched your rocket of desire, where are you in relationship to it? Are you forward looking? Are you a vibrational match to it? Or are you holding back less than what you have become? And the answer to that question is, if you are up to speed with it, you feel the up to speed emotion. You feel joy, you feel passion, you feel eagerness. But if you're not up to speed with it, if you're holding back, you feel the resistant emotion. That is what negative emotion is. You feel the longing, you feel the discouragement, you feel the depression, you feel the anger, you feel the fear, you feel the overwhelmment, you feel the not up to speedness of not looking forward. We so want you to begin to feel the continuity and the unfolding of that which you are, because here is the most important thing that we plan to convey to you today in a way that we believe you can hear it if you're listening carefully and feeling from the resonance of who you really are. We want you to understand that this forward-looking vibration is a vortex of creation that you have concluded. In other words, you have put it there from all that you have lived. So this forward-looking, this vortex of creation, this is the current vibration. This is the forward that you have come to. And we want you to hear us when we say, and try to wrap your thoughts around it, this vortex of creation, this vibrational reality, if you will, this is present tense. In other words, when in your physical body you feel or are sick, and you launch a rocket of desire requesting wellness, that forward-looking thought, which is joined by the larger part of you and all that is held for you as the newfound place that you have created as a result of all that you are. Did you hear that? And it is the now reality. But in your human form, you are so good at translating the vibration of where you stand in your knock-on-wood physical world, where you see with your eyes and hear with your ears, where you translate the vibration of your reality through your physical senses, and you want to proclaim, no, Abraham, this is reality. What's in my bank account right now, that's reality. What's going in my body, on in my body right now, that's reality. And we say, it is past tense reality from the point of view of the larger part of you. And what is now reality is the vibrational place you have carved out. Now, realists in the physical human sense aren't having any of that. They are scientifically sifting the data of what's manifested. And if it has manifested, they'll count it in their tally, and they'll put it in their piles of good and bad, wanted and unwanted. And they will consider it as reality that is valid. And those realists, will call everything that we are calling vibrational reality, they will call it illusion. They will call it fantasy. And we say, you can call it whatever it is, but it's who you really are. It's who you've expanded to. And if you don't acknowledge that it's who you are, and you don't focus yourself forward into the vibrational resonance of who you have become, then you're going to feel the discord of not doing that, and that discord is going to feel like some degree of negative emotion. Now, the realists will look at you in your negative format, in your negative emotion, or even in your sickness, which is just an extension of that resistance. And they will say, this too is reality. And we say, yes, it is. It's part of the contrasting physical environment reality from which who you really are is being born. But you are not ever going to be able to separate yourself from the absolute fact that you are vibrational beings who, even while you are in this physical body, are constantly expanding forward. And it is our promise to you, if you make no effort to keep up with that forward being that you have become, if you don't keep up with you, if you don't look in the direction of who you have become, the negative emotion will be your indicator of your resistance in not letting it be. We want you to feel the reality of the guidance that is within you, that lets you know how well you're keeping up with you. We want you to try a little bit to maintain the vibration of who you have become. We want you to feel the fullness of who you are. We want to point out to you today, in ways that you will always remember, the vibrational vantage point of the source who is you. And we want you to understand that unless you make some effort to view your world through the eyes of source, unless you try to get into this vortex of creation and assume the vibrational becoming that you, the larger part of you, the way larger part of you has become, unless you acknowledge those two vibrational vantage points and understand the way they play off of one another, you will never understand your emotion, and you will have no control over what happens in your physical experience. We're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. And you will notice as we are moving forward through this day that we will be constantly guiding you toward remembering who you really are. We will be constantly guiding you toward your awareness of these two vibrational vantage points, because those two vibrational vantage points and the subsequent emotional response that ensues because of the vibrational proximity between you and you. This is your guidance system. This is how you understand where you stand in relationship to who you have become.